G'day YouTube, warbles on a lot here. Wild parsnip. Other name, yam. Field notes. The pretty white flowers are 1 to 2 centimetres wide on wiry stems, 0.4 to 1.5 metres tall. Leaves are small and deeply divided and the taproot is pale yellow and swollen, 1 to 3 centimetres thick. See page 202. Figure G, which is that one. Wild parsnip forms colonies on sandy infertile soils in coastal heaths and rock outcrop country. It is patchily distributed but common where it occurs. Uses. Wild parsnip is one of the best wild foods I know. Its thick, juicy taproots taste slightly sweet and fragrant and are, if anything, superior in taste to their namesake. They taste better than European parsnips. They can be eaten raw or cooked, and young plants taste especially succulent, becoming slightly fibrous with age. Related to both parsnip and carrot, this plant warrants cultivation as a vegetable, though it appears to be a slow grower, reaching parsnip size only after several years. Odd as it may seem, there appear to be no records of Aborigines eating wild parsnips. Early observers probably didn't visit the areas where it grows. The plant is well known and much liked by country people. And here we have some cultivated wild native parsnips, and these are all seed heads off one single tuber, which originally started growing there maybe 15 years ago. So if nothing else, this one is a survivor. And that one's just about dry enough to be ready to harvest. Likey so. So bugger. And there we have Trachymene incisa, cultivated variety. Seeds, labelled even. And there are many, many more seed heads, which at the moment are not quite yet ready to harvest. There are still flowers yet to be fertilised. All from this one very hardy plant. Okay, so now we get another envelope and we go for a bit of a walk. And we have a little bit of a look at the actual wild native parsnips. That one's not ready, but that one is. Hopefully that showed up. That one's hardly got enough seeds on it to be worth taking. That and that are too young yet. This one's a bit interesting. It's actually got a spider sitting on it, so I'll leave the spider where it sits. Too young. This looks more promising. That's a good one. There's some good stuff down there. And there's another one. And there's another one. Some nice ones in there. That shows, by the way, why I harvest into envelopes. And the seeds are already at the point where they're falling off the flower heads. So I know I'm not getting them too early. One of the reasons I'm making this harvest now, on the 2nd of April, is that, as you can see, there's an awful lot of stems that have no longer got flowers on them. And what's happened there, I'm pretty sure, is the flower heads have been eaten. Whether they've been eaten by wallabies or kangaroos or rabbits, I don't know. If they've been eaten by wallabies or kangaroos, it may be that that's a good thing. Maybe the seeds need to go through a herbivore and come out in the dung in order to get a good chance of germinating. But anyway, I'm out here at the moment sort of trying to get my fair share of the seeds, because not all of the ones that are fully matured have been eaten. And I'll keep that in my collection. And towards the end of winter, I think I'll have a go at sowing them. Something certainly has been having a real good feed of them. And my own personal translation of the point of curiosity mentioned in the textbook, that there's no written record of the Aborigines eating the wild native parsnips, but they grow in poor soils and on rocky outcrops, and perhaps the early white people didn't ever go where the Aborigines were eating the parsnips, because the early white people into any area stayed down by the river flats on the fertile soil where it was good grazing for the sheep. And maybe by the time all the fertile, rich river flats had been occupied and the white fellas got out into the hills and discovered the wild native parsnips, the local free-range Aborigines were already extinct. So that's why the first white people into the areas where the wild native parsnips were didn't actually observe and write down that they saw the Aborigines eating the wild native parsnips. They just decided, shit, these are good eating. And then most of them forgot about it because their sheep selectively graze the wild native parsnips before they eat anything else, in my experience. Which is, of course, precisely why I defend this place against trespassing sheep, for the sake of the wild native parsnips, because somebody has to do it. And if not me, who? What have we got going on over here? Pretty much. Oh no, look at that. Oh. Lovely. Well, lad! biggest and most impressive bird that ever comes and lands on this place. Sometimes you see wedge-tails, but they never actually roost or perch. Once again, quite a lot of the seeds have been eaten by some herbivore. They seem to like eating seed heads when they look sort of like that. And the young seeds are all juicy and green, packed full of energy perhaps. They don't seem to eat the flowers, but yeah, that would be a juicy wild native parsnip seed head for a herbivore to munch up and ferment. So anyway, that looks to be the major harvest for 2021. There we go, that's a better view. In the lateness of the afternoon, almost horizontal sun. These are the wild ones. I think I got about the same amount of seed from all those wild plants as for the one 15-year-old veteran that's growing safely behind herbivore-proof steel mesh. And of course, as I have mentioned on previous videos, these delightful little shrubs here, they're a bit of a rarity. Wallaroos, not kangaroos, wallaroos. Friends of mine. In fact, it may be they who've been chowing down on the wild native parsnip flowers. And if so, good on them, because they know what they're doing here. They've been living up here on this ridge for thousands of years. Epigenetically selected to live here. Unlike me, I've only been up here, well, my grandfather used to come here to collect charcoal for his blacksmith forge. And he was born at Barradine in 1885. So these are the locals and I'm the floaty, perhaps blow-in, however you want to put it. So, there we have cultivated and wild native parsnip seeds. And meanwhile, those little bushes I showed you, they're either tall ground berries, Lance beard heath, or this is what I think they are, mountain beard heath. But if they are, they're a long way north of their usual range, like 50 or 100 miles. Although I don't have any berries, I do actually have wombat berry vine, as well as endless amounts of flax-lilly seeds for the grinding into flour, as well as longleaf mat rush and spike rush. Nothing's eaten those. That's how they grow, in order to make sure that nothing wants to eat them. And the mat rush and the spike rush have just about parallel edges to their leaves. You can weave waterproof baskets with them, apparently. And if you pull the leaf out, you can eat the white, soft, juicy base of the leaf. You get that a lot with Australian wild plants. The leaves themselves are really spiky and tough and indigestible, but what the leaf grows from is soft enough for you to eat, if you're hungry enough. Look at that. Parsnip seed head that I missed. And a couple that are getting ready, and some flowers. yet to be fertilised. We have the ultimate symbol of the learning curve. Wild Native Parsnips growing around a mouldboard plough. Because progress is not always progress, you see. That's why the mouldboard plough is equipped with wing mirrors. So you can see who's the fuckwit trying to put the topsoil at the bottom of the ocean. Not me, eh? Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Ciao.